Next step, edge banding. What I need it for is to go around the top of that chase and to edge the front to hold in the bits of perspex. So I've calculated I need 80 centimeters of dado at 16 mil, about halfway through, and mark out where tomorrow I can route this channel and then chop it down to length. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. See, I told you I put these bits in on purpose. Yeah. This is meranti. I picked up 2.4 meters of it. It's an Indonesian hardwood, sustainably forest. Bunning's about $5, I think, maybe even less than that, maybe $4. It's going to form the edging around all the bits of the ply, and functionally it's going to hold those bits of perspex, the one for the coin run and the one for the front of the box, in so I don't have to glue them. Already run my little test here. I'm not going to be quite wide enough to get what I need on one pass, so I'm going to run all of my long bits through and then move it, run them through a second time, and then chop them up into the lengths that I need. I'm going to need two different types. I'm going to need one that's a U shape for the top half and one that's an L shape for the bottom half bits. There we go, that was nice and easy. Obviously I'll make a better fence one day. All I needed to do was, because I needed a 16mm dado, but I only had a 13mm bit, is after making those first passes, I moved this a tiny notch. I literally just loosen it, go like that, clamp it down again, and that gave me another millimeter cut on one way, flip the board around, pass it through again, another millimeter cut on that way, and I actually managed to fluke it exactly right just with those two passes. So here's my lovely test piece, which is getting very, very well utilised. Here's a piece of perspex. They now fit dead snug. I decided I wanted to make this side piece the main nice looking section. So after I've taken out the center, I've then moved the router a bit and I've rabbited out this section here. So now that single piece of wood will fit flush in all the way down and look very nice. Now to repeat, this little overhang here is causing me problems when I'm going to mount this piece, as it's putting a little gap there that I don't like. So what I've done is put some double-sided tape here, then I'm going to use this piece as a guide, line it up with the edge there and the edge there, and I'm going to install a flush trim bit in here, and I'm going to flush trim that down so that's a nice straight line all the way, and my piece will fit in nice and snug. Now I've installed my round over bit on the table to make these back edges nice and smooth. Ran into a wee problem, luckily I caught it just in time. See here? I ran out of guiding, so when I was running this through, this bit here doesn't have anything to run along the ball bearing, and it started to cut in further. I saved it luckily on the second piece. I'm going to have to make it look equally as rustic. Instead of cutting a hole to get the coins out, I've decided I'm going to make this entire front piece of perspex liftable. So I'm going to flush trim off this bit here and then glue the perspex to the top runner. So you're just going to be able to pick up this, tilt it forward, and all the coins will fall out. I hope. The router leaves a slight circle just on where it's come through, so I use a hacksaw to square that all off. Fortunately, that cut was actually perfect by complete accident. I thought I was being conservative. That was lucky. Line it up along one edge, mark down there, trim off that. Because the piece was so small, I started on here, but it was just jumping, so no good. Going to use the circular saw and just take it really slow. Hope I don't crack the sheet. That's an awful lot smoother than I thought it was going to be. Nice. Well, I've got to leave for the party in about an hour, and obviously this isn't going to be finished in time, and well, making a lot of mistakes along the way, and trying to film things slows me up too, so the world's just working against me, but oh well, they're going to get it eventually, and hopefully I can finish it off tomorrow. Right now it's time to glue it up and work out how I'm going to say sorry to a 4-year-old that you haven't got a present. Oh, bad Uncle James, bad uncle. I'm carefully applying the glue only to the back half of this runner, because I do not want that perspex sticking. I need to be able to get it out again so that I can finish this. Extending clamps back in action, all glued up. Well, the party's over. We had good fun. Back at home, checking on my glue and hoping I can get this piece of perspex out, because otherwise I'm screwed. Winning. For the L shapes on the front, the wider bit will go across here to hold the perspex in, and the narrower bit will go on the side. So from my U's, I effectively need to cut off this strip here, so it'll fit like that. Best way I think I can do it is actually on the jigsaw. I've got this little edge to guide me down, and it's not completely perfect, I can sand it up. Well, that didn't work very well. In fact, the second one that I cut, I wasn't filming, split as I got about halfway down. So I'm going to use the same trick I did before. Here are my 2 bits I actually want. I've carpet taped them together. They've obviously got the one good edge and the one bad edge. So I've got the flush trim bit in here. I'm going to have to watch that, because that's really, well, not good. But I should just be able to get this and run my ball bearing along here and smooth out that edge really nicely, and then I'll just flip it around and smooth out the other edge. They won't be perfectly even, but I don't think you're going to notice, and it's quite a handy little tip actually. I don't think I created this, I'm sure it's been done before, but yeah, it's going to be really useful for when I do dodgy stuff like that to make them smooth and straight again. So there we go, a little bit of sanding, and that giant U shape is now gone. Tops. In case you've forgotten, I'm completely making this up as I go along. I decided that I wanted to round over both edges of those front grips. They're going to look a lot nicer. It was challenging because I only got the one size round over bit. I really needed a smaller one to get this done properly, because once I took the first round over off, the second one no longer could use that guide properly. However, I reckon they've turned out pretty nice. They're relatively even. I've got one little slip up there. And so now I can just put these across the table like that, grab the sander, and turn them into as close to perfect circles as I can. I reckon they look pretty. I call it the evolving design principle, aka making shit up as you go along. Stick these on the front. We fixed something that I forgot to do before gluing these sides on, which would have been much easier beforehand, but fortunately is still possible now. There's no coin slot. So yep, drill just through here and then clean that up with a file. Should be pretty easy. So I'm just drilling along this line that I've marked here, which is where the slot will go on the other side. I'm just letting the weight of the drill do the holes. I'm trying to be really gentle so I don't blow out any of this wood. Obviously, if you had a drill press, this would be a lot easier. That should just about do it. Let's check. Beautiful. That's a dirty, bold-faced lie. It's as ugly as sin. But it's functional. Yeah, that's not too pretty. Kinda glad it's not on the top now. No one will see it. And you wonder why I never get anything finished on time. Perfectionist, well, not entirely, but I really don't like obvious ugliness, and that slot is obvious ugly. So another excuse to use a new router bit. This is a core bit. It is tiny, and fortunately it's almost exactly the right size to clean up that little bugger. So what I've done is I've got a stop block on both ends. Because what I'm going to have to do is drop the start of this slot down like that, and then run it through to the end there. So it's a plunge cut on a round surface. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to have to take it really slow, and that should give me that all cleaned up quite nicely. Hopefully I don't blow out the piece of bloody wood. There we go. Looks quite nice now. Well, it's not perfect. Took a bit of this, quite a bit of this, and now it also guides the coin in, which is quite nice too. So I reckon that's a feck up to a feature, really. I didn't mean to leave that slot uncut, and it would have obviously been much, much easier to do this before. However, by improvising a way to get it cut, already glued up, I probably wouldn't have thought to use this little core bit otherwise. And yeah, that works really nicely. I think I'm going to put a tiny bit of stain in here just to hide some of this burning. And that works beautiful. Next piece, up top. And I've just taken off 2 little bits there and there, so that this piece fits snug on like that. Now I can't actually glue this one on, because in order to get this piece of perspex in here, that obviously can't be attached yet. I'm going to have to decorate all of this with spray lacquer first, and then this will be glued on right at the very end. This could be a horrendously bad idea, but I want an even profile across both these risers and the top bit. So what I've done is reinstall the round over bit. I'm going to put a piece of perspex in here to act as the correct spacer, and then holding this very steady, doesn't really move at all, I'm going to run the whole apparatus through the round over like so, so that this edge and this edge get rounded over at the same time. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Holy crap, that actually worked. Those profiles are all now nicely matched up. A little bit of burning there on the corner, but chuffed with that. I am the most proud of this piece of wood than I have been of anything I have done so far. This bit up here was challenging, making it fit there. And just because there is no such thing as too much engineering, check out this beauty. I don't know how close I can get before it goes fuzzy. So, the new mechanism I designed to have a lift top is going to look like that. This piece here has got 2 tabs on it which sit behind these bits, because that's where you're going to be able to grab them. And then this front little runner here, so much routing on so many different angles, that will accept the piece of perspex. So I'm going to be able to glue this to the top of that perspex like so, and then glue the S&P on there. However, you might notice I've had to jam my fingers in underneath, because originally I was planning on the perspex sitting down flush like that. So I still want it to sit down low, but that's obviously not going to be able to be glued together. So I'm going to have to cut another piece of perspex, but that's a small sacrifice to make to have this looking so beautiful. Love it. Ah, hand tools. Needed them though. I'm now cutting these 2 side bits, which I want to L shape in like that, and then I will round off these edges too. So I had another one of my U shapes, which I've cut off just like I did previously to make the L, but this little cut here was so delicate, I decided I'd do it with a hacksaw instead of trying to do it on my fairly rough as gut inverted jigsaw. A little bit of chisel work as well, just to make it fit nicely. And then, fortunately, if I had the first one done, I could use it as a template. Let's cut the second one. There was quite a bit of carving involved in that, just trying to get my angles and my roundovers correct. What I actually found was really useful was because I had these 2 sort of half-cut bits there, I could sandwich them together, and to get that bead on either side, I could use that to safely feed it through the roundover bit, which was quite nice. The burning may give away that Power tools are much better than hand tools, and I use my disc sander / angle grinder to quickly make those fit a lot easier than hand sanding was. Anyway, pretty happy with those. They will sit here and here like that. This piece is the last bit I want to get. Take that back, another piece here as well. So this one and this one. Fortunately, they're actually flat pieces, which is a tiny little roundover with the sanding on there. And then we can finish and glue. And tomorrow when I go to my other nephew's birthday party, I can give my first niece and nephew their handmade present and him a clothing voucher from Bonds. He's one. He doesn't care.